let's get this off the bat. Let's get this out of the way. We fucking suck. Okay? We are not a good team, and we could win the Euro again. We could win the fucking tournament again, and we are brutal. Like, can I just say, maybe this isn't fair because we've been faced with like two juggernaut, opponents in like the opening 3 games. But, I mean, we were playing like right into Croatia's hand. Like for 20 minutes at the end when we needed a goal desperately. It's almost like if we had scored in the 79th minute, for example, it would have been too soon. It's almost like if we had scored in the first minute of injury time, that would have been too soon. It had to be the last kick of the game. CHIARA NASTI'S husband, that bimbo with the biggest tits you've ever seen in your life. I am so sorry for ever making fun of that woman. I saw her once at the train station in Naples with my girlfriend. She had a Birkin bag and a chihuahua. And I said, look at her. That's a woman who doesn't know anything about the world. She knows how to pick a man who could finish it in the top right fucking corner when it matters. We owe Gianluigi Donnarumma a big apology. He's the best goalkeeper in the world. I shit myself every time he gets the ball passed back to him. And I'm steadfast every time a long shot comes at him from distance. It is honestly surprising that he didn't pick up on the rebound, which led to Modric's goal, because he's just that good. He was almost there when his defense completely abandoned him. It's a couple of games now that you've realized that we have like the same energy as Hungary. We don't feel like a contender in this tournament. I know that on paper we could stay in the mix for any match. It doesn't feel like we have anywhere near enough to go on the type of run that you need to go on to get clean, put clean sheets together. And it doesn't feel like we have any identity going forward. I mean, today was we're completely bereft of any ideas. It felt like Macedonia 3.0, Sweden 3.0, whatever. Sweden, Macedonia, missing World Cup games, cataclysmic failure, losing a game by 1 goal, needing a goal at the end. Except it came. It came. I don't want to hear anyone say that Riccardo Calafiori's all aura. He does have handsome privilege. He does have a strong jawline. He does have long hair. That's nice. He also is the first and only defender in 3 games that was able to break a line. And he did it when he had to. In the last play of the game, slipping it over to Zaccagni for that beautiful goal. This should be a different show. It is San Giovanni. It is Saint Jean-Baptiste Day in Quebec. It is a stat holiday. I'm not unemployed. I worked this morning. I worked on a holiday, okay? I shouldn't have to be recording right now. I'm with people who are more concerned about the hockey game later today. I'm with people who, respectfully, were more than happy to eat hamburgers when they came out during the game. I was not in any position to scoff any food. I ate 2 burgers at the end of the game as in a trance. I was like possessed. I was swallowing them and I didn't even know what was happening. I just had burgers shoved down my face because we're at a barbecue watching the game. And I can't be the only guy that blacked out when that went in, because you knew that when the pass was threaded, every time a goal goes in now you're like, hold on, they're gonna check for offside. You knew it was beautiful, you knew it was perfect, you knew there was nothing wrong with that. The second he opened up his body to finish that off, you knew where it was going. Croatia deserve a lot of credit. I'm with you. Want to be nameless? You want to be anonymous?
Yeah, we could.
Okay, no problem. Well, you've been on the show once before. It was in Florida when I was in hiding down in the Keys, when the shit was going down with the indigenous.
South Florida.
Yeah, right. That's if you're new to the pod, if you're just discovering the show now because of the Euro, go back to last summer. Know the lore. Understand the lore of this podcast. We almost started a race war between the Italians and the indigenous people of Montreal. It was like that Sopranos episode where, like Columbus Day, that's the name of the episode if you want to go back. It's from the summer. It doesn't matter. Focus. War. We're at war. We must focus on the task at hand here, which is to break down that clusterfuck of a game. Luciano Spalletti deserves a little bit of credit. His substitutions came off. He kept Calafiori on the whole game. Not that he had any real reason to take him out. I guess he deserves credit for starting him 3 games in a row. 2 great interventions in the last 10 minutes. The assist at the end. What could this guy not do? He's the youngest guy on the team. And I was hoping he might just fucking light it up. I was hoping he might just unleash from 27 yards out. But no, he invited the pressure, slipped it over to his teammate. Can we just say a couple points of concern here? And it is difficult to manage in a tournament. So if Luciano Spalletti had failed to win this game and we would have lost, he would have been the scapegoat, but they're fine margins. I mean, we still very well may have gone through. We wouldn't have deserved it, but, we would have finished 3rd in the group. Right now we're above Hungary, who are, at the time of recording, below us, so we would have needed 1 more of 4 third-place teams to be below us. If that would have happened, it would have felt like we wouldn't have deserved it. This feels a little bit more... This feels like the tournament is on now. Now it's time to put out your fucking flags. Now it's time to get a little excited. Now's the time for my girlfriend and I to cancel our moving day this Saturday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time against Switzerland. We're gonna have to. I think I understand why men just go to the department store and looking for milk and never come back. They just sometimes I feel like abandoning my family right now. I feel like just abandoning my plans and everything. I might just have to just go dark and for 3 weeks. I need to go into a hole and just not come out. I need to go to the mattresses until this tournament is over. The game ended half an hour ago. I still don't even know what's going on. We're trying to pump this out immediately for the good people who are finding this in the aftermath of the game, who want some form of catharsis to look back on the game. And I'm in no position to be speaking to anyone right now. My brain is not. I'm just filling half an hour here. I'm just filling half an hour trying to make sense of that whole fucking game. Croatia deserve a lot of credit. Once they got their goal, it was a few minutes of pressure from us, and they just killed it. They killed us fucking dead in the water. We were generating 0 opportunities for like 15 minutes, and really throughout injury time. And here's the thing, it is more fun. It's not good for your health, but it is more fun when that happens, when it plays out the way that it played out today. But it's not conducive to success long term. Like that is not a way that is sustainable to play. I mean, but at the same time, conversely, you kind of need a little bit of that magic in a tournament like this. You just need to get out of a group, get into the bracket, have a game open up for you, with maybe a stroke of luck, and all of a sudden you have different prospects on your hands. That seems to be what's happened here. That goal feels like one that's going to go down in lore for decades, that we'll always look back on. Just the invitation from Calafiori to just, have, I haven't even seen the replay. As I recall it, I think he just kind of ran at their defenders head on and kind of had maybe some guy slip out of position, and he fed it over to him. But again, you understand that when you're watching that live, let alone when you have the ball, just to have the poise to wait for the guy to come out of position to slip it over to your winger. Just in that position, I don't know about you. On TV, I'm screaming, "Hey, shoot! It's on! There it is! There it is!" You're kind of, it just shows you that I don't have whatever he has, whatever it takes to do that under pressure. It's so difficult. You see guys muff chances all the time, and yeah, Mattia Zaccagni's a fucking idiot. Like, what do you want? He has no clue what's going on in the world. All that guy thinks about is busting nuts and scoring goals. That's it. That's all he cares about, and having a skin fade. You don't have a neck tattoo and generally understand what's going on in the Ukraine, as a rule of thumb. And that's exactly what you want. You want him being totally bereft of any thoughts, ideas, individual, personal opinions on the world. It's arguably what holds Luciano Spalletti back, is that he's overthinking everything constantly at all times, always. And, and then at the end when we score and he kind of celebrates quickly and he just calms down. He's like, all right, got to be stoic. That's his thing. He's all about stoicism. Always. Constantly. Stoic. It's too early to say, but God damn it, we could very well lose against the Swiss. They actually look pretty good against Germany, and they've had our number in the past, and I literally don't think it's a given that we walk over them. I mean, we're now on the more favorable side of the bracket on paper, but it does feel like any given game we will still have to fight for. We've not run away with any single game, but it does feel like with Luciano Spalletti being like this stoic guy, who probably right now as I'm putting this out to the world, recording this, is probably giving a press conference about the importance of keeping calm and level heads. Like, maybe that could just be part of the lore. Him having this weird, this weird, pontificating almost demeanor where he's like, I'm going to tell you what's going on in the world. Which is people are too stressed. Le persone si stressano. Dobbiamo avere un po' di fiducia in se stesso. They just waffling about the way to be and the way to keep a clean frame of mind. And meanwhile, like on the field, it couldn't be a more diametrically opposed, scene, right? Just last second of the game, ball goes in, we all lose our minds. Like, that's not supposed to be the way that Spalletti wants to play, but fuck it, if it works. Fine margins. This is why, by the way, this is why people like tournament football. It's why it's the best. You just become a degenerate gambler with whether or not you have money on the game. You just won your parlay. Last second. Same reaction. Except ideally it should be a little more, deeply personal. But just in terms of, identity, nationality, we're the best, We just sunk a neighboring country. But let's try to break down the game here. Again, I'm kind of all over the map here. Before we get into individual performances, my humble producer for the week, whose house I'm at with a group of people, you will remain nameless. Don't worry, but just
producer/host.
Well,
for the week,
you're more of you're not really doing much hosting. You're more of like the. You're kind of like the you're my side piece in this. You're kind of my arm piece. You're my arm candy off camera. You're just here for optics and aesthetics, really.
Just to have someone on the other side.
Let me ask you, what did you? So you like tournament football when it rolls around. But you don't watch football year round. You're just to put into perspective. I'm with a group of people who I love dearly, but as shit's going on, Giovanni Di Lorenzo has the ball in the middle of the field, and my father-in-law saying, "Drive forward," and it's like, well, that's not really how it works, and you kind of got to hold your tongue a little bit. An uncle said, hopefully the Oilers win tonight in Game 7. It's one of those. It's a Canadian.
Don't disrespect. He had 2 assists last night.
My father-in-law.
Yeah.
People
recreational soccer league.
In his 50+ 35, his over 35 soccer league. What was that really worth the interjection? Are you trying to rattle me? Is that what you're doing? Do the people really care that my father-in-law had 2 assists? And it's a wonder how he was even able to find a teammate. He doesn't know. Watching the game today, it's like people forget passages, normal passage of play and just patterns and how football is meant to be played. I'll say this, okay, just on the technical side. I think a couple of concerning things are. Now, this is where a few of you guys, I know some of you guys are discovering this and you're just like operating on retard energy right now. Like, yeah, we're the best. Listen to what I'm saying, all right? Listen to what I'm saying. We have a problem with patterns of play. We have a problem possessing the ball in a way where we have an understanding of where our teammate's supposed to be and when we're supposed to open up our body and go wide. Today, too many times, it felt like the only option we had was to try to spray it wide to the wings or just bomb it forward. And ideally you wouldn't want to do that. Teams that do that in tournaments tend not to do it. They tend not to win them. They're generally sides of lesser technical ability. And and it's also not the way Luciano Spalletti wants to play. Very much not. But we'll give him credit where it's due. then we'll critique him on a couple of other things. And we'll critique him because he's the coach, but I'm talking about the team at large here. He gets credit for rolling with a 3-5-2, for trying to change something up, clog up the midfield a little bit, understanding that, we didn't need a win in this game. We needed to not lose. So going into it, knowing that the result 0-0 is already in your favor, you want to probably not go too, you probably don't want to go too, positive-minded necessarily. If you go too positive-minded and you think, let's go forward all the time, hold the ball, you could, in the event of a mistake, yield a turnover or something, or a counterattack, and get scored on. Which is something that might happen if you have, the fullback that we played in the first couple games with like 2 pivots in the midfield. Whereas now, we very clearly played, 3 at the back and, 5 flat midfield with three central midfielders of different quality and who did different things. But, I even think in the first half, just the 2 striker combination kind of was working for us. It created a couple of opportunities, at least in possession, we had but also in possession, I mean, like in the final third, but also there were a couple of times when, like, one of the forwards, be it Retegui or Raspadori, Retegui, who looked pretty good, by the way, on the ball, just holding up overall, no real, qualms with him. But a couple of times they, like, shifted out wide, and they were able to get a ball in, from Di Lorenzo, who had a bad game. I mean, had Di Lorenzo been a little bit more on, there might have been more opportunities for us to try to, put the game to bed early. And we'll get to the fullbacks in a moment here. But, I think so. The decision to go 3 at the back, 3-5-2 to start the game off was probably wise. But he also shifted back when he needed to. That was smart. Di Marco off for Chiesa was a good stroke. Chiesa was a little bit wasteful in the final third, unfortunately. He didn't quite put his head down and drive on goal. He had one chance he almost created himself for Scamacca, which if had he not been, better defended, he probably would have, tapped in. And he's the hero. But, overall, the subs were strong. I think a couple concerns are that so the 2 goals that we've conceded since the Albania one, the Albania goal was a clusterfuck. Well, let's kind of call that, a bit of an outlier. But we have had no clean sheets. We made a mistake in every single game, a fucking bad mistake in every single game. So today, leaving Donnarumma to save 2 balls from point blank range. It's crazy. Di Lorenzo was out of position. Should have dropped back a little bit more. Arguably in that position. In the second game, Di Lorenzo was also at fault for letting Williams kind of dance around him the way that he did. Williams, for Spain was having a great game, but Di Lorenzo still he didn't contain him, and that's when that ball came in that led to the own goal. And in the first game, right, that fucking it was that Di Marco chance that he created out of nowhere, right, off a throw. So just stupid mistakes every game. It's a little concerning. A lot of inexperience at the in the back, in defense in particular. And I'll say this, I was pretty confident in our fullbacks. I didn't think that Giovanni Di Lorenzo and Federico Di Marco were going to give us problems. They've looked awful, man. Every game has been fucking not great, but the last 2 in particular have been especially brutal. I don't know why. I legitimately don't know why. I do not. In the case of Di Marco, I don't know what exactly is wrong with him. He just can't seem to create anything or combine well with his midfielders. So it feels like anytime we try to spring him down the flank, we wind up losing possession. Like if he starts with the ball and he combines with any of the guys that are close to him in the hope that he might just take off and bomb and overlap, he doesn't get it. So that's in his case, what's not really been working. But in the case of Di Lorenzo, it's a little worse. I mean, I know today's fucking San Giovanni, but Giovanni Di Lorenzo, I mean, I don't know, like St. John the Baptist coming back himself, fucking, and blessing him wouldn't have done anything today. It was bad. Like, just every time he had the ball going forward, he would just play a simple ball down. Giovanni Di Lorenzo, bro, was playing like I play right back today. He wasn't great. But it's not just that he wasn't great. He would get the ball, he would look up, and he would just try to go down the line. He would just try to send his fucking close.
Creativity.
He had no creativity. That's the point. There was no effort to try to combine with Barella or whoever might have slipped over to his side. I didn't really clock whether Barella or Pellegrini were playing more to the right or to the left. But
did they sub him out?
Sorry. So they didn't sub him out. They played. Di Lorenzo played the whole game. Spalletti seems to have the utmost confidence in him. Going forward, I think Cambiasso is a little better, although he didn't have a great showing against Spain. But, I don't know if maybe like later on in the game we kind of had Di Lorenzo playing as like a hybrid kind of right back, but also kind of as like the right center back and the 3-back, depending on the system. I think it might have become a little bit fluid where like in possession we might have fucking shifted one way and then off the ball we might have shifted another way and hope to win it back. So like Di Lorenzo's good because he is kind of able to kind of play both roles, but as the widest guy 2 games in a row, he's been just a bad outlet for offense. He hasn't created anything. He's not been quick enough. He's not been creative enough. His balls into the box haven't been sharp. And by the way, I've always liked him. Defensively, he hasn't been super tidy. And every time he would get the ball under pressure, he would do that thing you do when you play football when you're not confident, where you're just trying to give it off to someone else. You know what I mean? So you used to play goalie, right? You were a hockey goalie, right?
I was.
You ever have like a shot come on you, right? And it's in your crease, and you're debating whether to freeze it or not because you have a teammate coming. You're like, do I leave it to him or there's a little bit of indecision. You got to know,
You can't hesitate.
Well, not as a goalkeeper. Not as a goaltender in hockey. Not as a goalkeeper in football. Not really as a goalkeeper in any sport. But also not as a defender. You're the last line. You're the last line of defense. You're the last guy back. So when that happens, when it happens that you're on the ball, and if you lose it, you're fucked. You get into a headspace where you think, well,
That's it.
if I lose it, I'm screwed. So play it safe. But ultimately, the best defenders in the world don't think about the fact that if they lose the ball, they're burnt. Maybe he had a tough time playing today because he had as bad a game as he did against Spain, and the media kind of ripped him a new one. Maybe a few days off would do him good. Now that the pressure is off, and now that it's just knockout football, So that could be what happened there. But it does feel like he wasn't performing at the level that he was a couple years ago, where he was like maybe one of the best right backs in the world. Honest to God, where assured in touch, assured in possession. Yeah, I don't know. This episode of the Bordello is brought to you by the good people at Evangelista Sports. Evangelista have the best selection of new football boots. If you get new boots, this is a fact, you will play better. If you wear the same boots as Cristiano Ronaldo, it doesn't matter that you have 29% body fat. You'll still feel like the man when you take free kicks. Evangelista has the best selection of boots in all of Canada. They have the best selection of national team gear in all of Canada. They have the official Azzurri line. I spoke to them the other day. They told me that they were talking to Adidas in the hope that they might be able to get an additional shipment of Azzurri merch and apparel, whatever the term is. And now's the time to get excited. We're into the knockout rounds now. Now's the time to invest in the team. Now's the time to be bullish on the boys. We're riding high after a last-second qualification. Now's the time to buy a jersey. Now's the time to buy a jacket or something. This jersey, like I'm the one, this like the one I'm wearing right here, right now. Beautiful. One of the best. Honest to God, honestly, bro, one of the fucking mintest jerseys I've ever worn. I think this might be the official match one as opposed to a replica. They're all schmack. They all look great. Yeah, I don't know. Adidas knocked it out of the park this year. So if you want to support the boys and you want to cop a shirt, you're in Canada, evangelistasports.com. They're the best at it. They have a bunch of other different national team stuff as well if you're a little weird. They have club stuff. Most of the major clubs in Europe have stuff at Evangelista Sports. They're great guys. If you have like a Total Campo team or like a 7-a-side team or some shit like that, you can have them custom make your jerseys. I'm not talking like, order a Nike t-shirt and they'll do that for you if you want, I guess. But you don't have to order some other brand and print your logo on. They will make it from scratch. I used to make Calcio podcast laden jerseys for my Sunday League team. The sponsor, like on the front, was Calcio Podcast, was the old name of the pod. Because we did it with Evangelista Sports years ago. We've been with them. I've been working with them for years. They're the best. They're great guys. They have a couple locations in Montreal, Laval, where we are currently. Or if you don't want to get shot, outside of the store, you can go to because it's Laval. You can go to the one in literally. I love how I'm in Laval right now. It's at your house, and you're looking at me like, bro, please. I got an extension cord for you. You're recording a podcast in my fucking backyard, bro. You had a burger. You got to shit on Laval. Listen, I don't know. A bit of respect. Well, talk to your people. I don't know. Talk to your fucking... Talk to the boys. I'm not the one who chose to commit grandfather scams and then go to the gym in Laval the next day after you're out on bail, like some people around these parts, Would you say shot? Yeah. Shot. You put the mic down. What are you doing? Anyway, look. EvangelistaSports.com. Check them out. They're the best at what they do. They have great selection of national team gear. Check out their Azzurri shit. It's there. It's nowhere else. It's Evangelista Sports. Let's get back to the show. Otherwise, Fratesi was a little bit wasteful, unfortunately. Scamacca didn't have a ton of time on the pitch. He tried to flick on for, wide men whenever he could, which wasn't bad. He, had a shot from far out, which yielded a corner. He didn't get to, finish a chance that Chiesa created for him, which was just really well defended. You got to give Croatia a little bit of credit here. I don't want to be that guy, but they played the game pretty well. Having a win, in the beginning of the game, it was their high press all game on us. Every time we would have the ball, high press. They tired eventually, but they kind of were dictating tempo for the first, it felt maybe 15 minutes, as I recall. And then, they just kind of settled into the second half right away, with their goal. It came pretty early. And then as you would understand...
How come Chiesa didn't start the game?
Chiesa didn't start the game because there was no space for him in a 3-5-2. He plays as an offensive winger. And
he was subbed in 56th minute?
Well, so this is interesting, right? So the reason why Chiesa went into the game was because we needed a goal, obviously, but it was also a change of tactic. So when Di Marco came out, Di Marco's a left back. He's playing as a wide left player, as a wing back, who's meant to track back, and who isn't as good going forward, but he's decent going forward, but he's not great going forward compared to Chiesa.
Yeah, he's
and so
to his strengths.
His natural position is a little, it's kind of between, he's kind of between the defense and, and the midfield, He's not necessarily lined up with his defensive line. He'll sit a little ahead of the defense, but he when he goes forward, it's because he's bombing up. He's not up there naturally. Chiesa being on is an outlet. He's higher up the pitch. He's waiting for it so that he could kind of invite a little bit of pressure and maybe burn a guy. So he didn't start because we wanted to have two center forwards, and I guess it had been worked on for a couple days in training, I assume. But just for Chiesa to have played, from the start in the system today, he would have been out of position, either as a forward or as a wide, as a wing back, which he's done before. But you kind of, for Juve, we've done that before. I'm a Juve fan, so I say we've done that before at Juve, is play him out wide, as a fullback, or as a wing back. But you lose a lot of him, or a lot of his ability as a result of playing him there. So that, the dangerous thing with Chiesa now is everyone sees he's on the bench and says, Chiesa. Well, the New York Jets. Chiesa. What's Chiesa doing on the bench? Yankees. So you get a lot of that. By the way, that's not just like the Italian-American guy. Even in Italy. Ma che sta facendo schifo qua. Chiesa on the bench. Like, it's not effective. You got to trust the coach. You got to trust the manager to an extent to, try to build a team that's going to do what he needs on that day. When Chiesa doesn't start, he's still in the team. He came off the bench. He did what he had to do. I don't know who the hell we start in the next game now, because it feels like kind of nothing's been working. Like, ultimately, we got a couple of results, but it feels like nothing's worked. Against Spain, couldn't hold the ball. Against Albania, yes, it was fine. Well, whatever. We did give up a chance late on, but whatever. We gave up a chance really late and really early against Albania. Maybe the focus wasn't there 100% of the time. But I think the issue with the Albania game wasn't really anything that serious. It was just the fact that we started off really slowly. I guess, looking at how they played against Spain and how we played against Croatia is a better indication of where we're at and where we need to be going forward, because that's the type of team that you'll see now in the knockout rounds. Like, respectfully, like Albania, they all won fucking point, They lost 2 games, they drew 1, which they got a point in at the last second. They're not a great team. They're okay. They're at the Euro, but they'll give you a challenge, but you're supposed to beat them. When you come up against teams that are able to to win games because they have, just a lot of quality. I don't know, England, Netherlands, whatever. We fancy our chances against any of these teams, but it's a good game right there where you say, oh fuck, these are two big boys. But also even a Switzerland, who we're going to be playing, have like a lot of experience. That team, the core of that team has been at, they've been at major tournaments for, the better part of 10 years now. So, it does beg the question, what the hell do we do now? How the hell do we play now? Fagioli came on at the end for Jorginho. That was interesting. He didn't really do a whole hell of a lot, but I like the fact that, first of all, Jorginho's a little bit older and a little bit, he gets tired quickly. I don't know if he can play 2 games in a week. Everyone says that he doesn't have 90 minutes, or that he doesn't have 2 90-minute games in him in a week anymore. It's very possibly true. I do think that when Fagioli came on, though, one of the criticisms that you could have for him, like my instinct was to say, he doesn't have enough urgency. But you could also say, hey, he was calm on the ball, and it worked out in the end. He did seem to be calm on the ball. I do think he also has better mobility than Jorginho. So it would be a little bit of a gamble starting him, but I think I'd rather play him than fucking Brian Cristante, who's, a guy that offers something different to what Fagioli offers, but is, ultimately not really a guy that's going to get your dick hard, right? He fucking uber defensive and responsible and so on. And, Fagioli's got a little bit more of an ability to, under pressure, just turn, right? On the turn. Receives the ball on the turn, look up, dish it well. Kind of like Jorginho does, but, I don't know. You'd rather have that than a guy that doesn't have the same drive to go forward all the time, which is, what Cristante has. Barella didn't have a great game. I don't know why. I don't know why I expect him to have a great game all the time. I guess he's kind of, he's understood to be one of the best midfielders in Italy. And then I guess scoring that goal in the first game and having the great, first match that he did have was a good omen, I guess. But he hasn't been great since. He hasn't really made great decisions. I feel like, man, I'm going to say this every pod, but let's be honest. Like, the likelihood that we go on and win this thing, not great. You'd feel a lot better with a guy like Verratti in the team, who could just help you hold the ball and dictate tempo and so on and so forth. So, but I don't know. But Matt, Donnarumma is like the best goalkeeper in this tournament, bar none. And he, understandably, was upset with his team. He's kind of been let down.
He was pissed after the first goal.
I mean, he had just saved a fucking penalty on the same play. Excuse my language, but he had saved a goddamn penalty. We forget, like that should have been it right there. By the way,
he almost saved his goal, eh? He almost had Modric.
He almost had him on the rebound. Yeah, he almost did. Modric just did a really good job of putting it up, in the upper portion of the net, but he was almost still there even at that. He almost made 3 huge saves in a row. So,
is he getting the start on Saturday afternoon?
Who?
Donnarumma.
Are you kidding me? Are you joking?
Yeah, it's a joke.
Oh, okay. He's on a yellow card. It would have been a fucking catastrophe. It would have been if he gets a yellow in this next game for like time wasting, he misses the quarterfinal. If we qualify, because the slate is only wiped clean, I think, from the quarterfinal onward or after the quarterfinal. So if you get 2 yellows, you're done. You miss a game, you're suspended for a game. And there were people for a long time that were like clamoring to have like Guglielmo Vicario play as the goalkeeper ahead of him, because I don't even know why. He's better with his feet. Like, Donnarumma is the most experienced player on that team. Like potentially, even though he's only 25. So, but you got to think, like, if Croatia don't score that goal immediately after the penalty is saved, there's a chance that it stays 0-0 and we keep just sitting back on our heels and Croatia nab one late, and then it demoralizes us. We just had a really good, it all fell well to us, I guess. Like we kind of kept Croatia pretty much at bay. When they went up, we didn't really let them have any great chances anymore. We just had a stretch of several minutes where we kept getting corners, and then we just let them dictate the tempo and waste time and so on, and we nabbed it at the end. But it really, it could have gone a hell of a lot worse. Like, you ultimately can't. There are concerns about the team, but you can't. There are so many ways that it could have gone way worse, like way worse. You know, Calafiori had like one little dink in the box toward the end of the game when we were down a goal. If he had fucked up there, you know, and it led to a Croatia, you know, critical chance, they convert 2-0. I mean, it's over. You're done. And there's a good chance you're going out of the tournament at that point because your goal differential is one worse. So, look, ultimately, the group stage was always going to be tough, man. It was going to be a tough group because, you know, it was likely that one of the three juggernauts was maybe going to go out. And in Croatia's case, they feel like they failed massively. If Spain had gone out, they would have said they felt, you know, they would have felt like they failed, and we would have likewise, you know, this would have been a crisis pod had we not won. We did well to not be the donkey that goes out, you know. So, what more can you say? What more can you say? You know, just you live on to breathe another day, and fucking, you know. And as Spalletti says, you know, it's a little try hard. I know it's a little lame to, like, you know, regurgitate these you know, these slogans, but uomini forti, destini forti. You know, be strong till the end. So the problem is I don't know that there are enough strong men in the team. Calafiori's one of them. He's proven it. Donnarumma's one of them. He's proven it. Zaccagni's come on, you know, twice as a sub and has looked good twice. You know, balls of steel, ice in his veins, finishes that off. Great, you know. If he muffs that shot, hits it at the keeper, if that's not perfect or if that goes wide, I mean, we're not having this conversation. We're probably cooked. We're done. So, you know, shit like this builds character. Probably is good for team morale as well. They're having a great time right now, wherever they are, high on adrenaline, high on life. You should be too, you know. This could galvanize us, or it could be, you know, a sign of what's to come and how we just ain't got it. But, you know, time will tell. So, you know, we'll keep ripping a new episode after every game as long as we're in the tournament. Hit sub if you're new. Toss a like on the video. It helps us out for the algo. If there's anything that you think we missed, leave a comment, whatever. That helps, you know. It helps get the juices flowing a little bit. And, yeah, add the pod to your, like, audio library. Subscribe to the pod on audio. You'll get it in your, you know, in your downloads. You can listen on the fucking way in to work or whatever. If you're listening to this on, or watching this on YouTube, you're just discovering the pod. Yeah, man, we do this every week. So we'll be doing this as long as we are in the tournament. You can follow me at I'm Sam Adamo. And, see where we go from here. Good luck to me. I'm supposed to be moving into a condo on Saturday. So I don't know what the hell I'm doing now. I may just have to abandon my family. Anyway, so, in the haunting words of former Prime Minister Matteo Renzi, viva l'Italia e in bocca al lupo a tutti noi. Ciao.